The Penn State Nittany Lions just got crazy coaching search news. Let's talk about it. My name is Aaron with my buddy Paul. We are the Big Ten guys on the daily, pushing Big Ten news, rumors, analysis, whatever the heck it is, Big Ten. We're going to talk about it right here. So all I need you to do, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and hey, hit the like button. I know Penn State Nittany Lions, Michigan State Spartans football programs, essentially at rock bottom. And you know what? You know what there is to like? There's a little light at the end of the tunnel, because they're at rock bottom, and the only way is up, baby. At least for the Nittany Lions, they're getting a new coach. Michigan State, we can't afford to really get rid of our head coach right now, so you're definitely going to be well ahead of us for a long time probably, but something to be hopeful for. Anyways, we're going to be jumping into a big move the Nittany Lions could make when it comes to their coaching search, talk about some other candidates that are really hot on the trail. And we're going to leave the question to you right now before we even jump into it. Who do you want to see as the new head coach at Penn State? Comment below. Let's do it. So first and foremost, Nick Saban urges Penn State to replace James Franklin with former NFL coach. And that is, drumroll please, Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll just fired not long ago as the New York Giants head coach. Did not do well there. Before he was there, he was offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, where he excelled. And then before that, 2017, yes, you probably guessed it, he was the offensive coordinator for the Crimson Tide, coached by then Nick Saban. And did they win the national championship? Of course, because Nick Saban won a lot of them. That being said, this is a very interesting little move here by Nick Saban. Totally understand. He has surely has a relationship with Brian Daboll. He says here, hey, listen, he's a bright guy. He's a good recruiter. He relates well to players. He's a good teacher. He's a good offensive mind, of course. He'll be able to put a good staff together. I think that would be an outstanding hire. I don't necessarily disagree with Nick Saban. Hear me out before you say, okay, I'm done with this guy. Hear me out. Yes, checks the box. Very great offensive mind. Thing that makes me nervous is the lack of college experience he has. So early on in the late 90s, he was an assistant at William & Mary. Then he was at Michigan State. So if you guys don't hire him, maybe all of our boosters will pony up $30 million to pay Jonathan Smith and get Brian Daboll. Probably not. But then on top of that is his experience as the offensive coordinator at Alabama under Nick Saban, where they won the national championship. So again, he does have very, very little experience, but where he has been successful. He has done well, except the Giants. But again, let's remember, Nick Saban went to the Miami Dolphins, did not do good. It is much different when you are at the helm of a program or an organization like the Giants, who literally is at rock bottom, and they're like, okay, be our savior, figure this out. And he ends up getting a guy like Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo, and they're even still like, nah, not a good season. See you later. We're gonna keep these guys, but we're gonna go with a different vision for him, which is interesting. I get it. They gave him time. They did give him time with the Giants, but it's a similar story to Nick Saban, where Nick Saban went and did the NFL experiment as a head coach. It didn't work out. He came back and he dominated in college. So the question becomes, does Brian Daboll want to jump into college and have the potential, let's say like a Matt Rule? Matt Rule, I think, is really turning Nebraska around. Yes, Dylan Raiola got hurt, but I think he's done well there to bring them back into the conversation, even though it went downhill towards the end of the year for him. I think he will continue to do that moving forward. But does Brian Daboll want to be in college? I think that's also another big thing too. But yes, offensive minded coach, could be great with recruits. You know, Penn State's going to back him when it comes to NIL money. He's a good teacher. Clearly that shows. He was a coach for multiple professional teams at positions as well as coordinator. He knows what he's doing. Could he get other NFL coaches, people that have been around him for many years to come and help him at Penn State? Probably could get a lot of people. Again, case in point, think of Jim Harbaugh. When Jim Harbaugh left the NFL and came to Michigan, I hate Michigan, but it is what it is. He brought a lot of NFL guys there, a lot of guys at the top of their profession, and brought them in there, and eventually down the road won a national championship for the Michigan Wolverines. Could Brian Daboll do that? Why not? at least flirt with the idea. It's not. I do not think it is a bad idea at all. And so again, what are your thoughts? Brian Daboll. If no, comment below why. As well, comment below who do you want to see. And I know I've already said that, but again, here's Brian Daboll. Bunch of different stops. Crazy time. Nick Saban. What do you think? What do you think? Next up, apparently, it's very possible that the Nittany Lions also, talking about the coaching search, are already landing on their number one target, and that's Bob Chesney. So Bob Chesney is currently the head coach at James Madison. And who was the coach before that? Let me just say Curt Cignetti, or as I call him on this channel, Cignasty, because the man comes into Indiana and literally brings it from the grave and brings this thing to national dominance. And so the question is, would Penn State want to try to get that magic, that mojo into Happy Valley with Bob Chesney? Again, probably no relation to Kenny Chesney, but I cannot be sure. Bob Chesney, almost 50 years old, has had some success at different levels, Division II, Division I, and then he's moved on to James Madison. So the question would be, hey, do you look at his resume and you say, okay, everywhere he's been, he's won. Can he come do it at Penn State? Younger guy, 48, technically compared to some coaches. Bad move? I don't think so. It's what's the goal of Penn State? Do you want to get someone in there that's young, young mind, great with recruits, all these different things? Sure, why not? You go a couple different directions. You can get the seasoned NFL vet like Brian Daboll. You can go after Bob Chesney. And so comment below, what are your thoughts on Bob Chesney? Again, I don't think it's a bad hire. Is it the sexiest, as this says, Grand Slam hire? I would tell you no. I don't think so. What I think would be a Grand Slam hire, looking at this coaching list, and someone that at Michigan State I would love to have and was rumored last year, was Brian Hartline, offensive coordinator, obviously Ohio State, one of the best, if not best, recruiters in the country. In my mind, that is an absolute Grand Slam. Absolute Grand Slam. I don't, and I think that's the thing with between Penn State and Michigan State. And if anyone who's a Michigan State fan is watching this, they might get very triggered when I say this. But Penn State is a blue blood program. Michigan State is trying to weasel. They've always been trying to weasel their way in. They had their moments in the past where they won, multiple Big Ten championships, Rose Bowl. Mark D'Antonio was just was a baller. But they're not there. They're trying to figure a lot of stuff out. Where Penn State, I think you put the right guy in there, much like Indiana, you can turn it around real quick. Brian Hartline would bring the guys in. He's an offensive-minded guy. He's a young guy. He could do a lot. If he does well at Penn State, why would he leave? I think the only reason he would leave was one day down the road, maybe Ohio State is calling his name. Obviously, because he played their coach there. But or maybe goes to the NFL. But I think that is the Grand Slam hire. A lot of other people have said, well, what about Chip Kelly? Chip Kelly, he just got fired as the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. Yeah, he had his times at Oregon where he was dominant. He did the NFL experience. The NFL, that didn't work out. He went back to Ohio State. Ohio State, he wins a national championship there, goes back to the NFL, doesn't work, comes back to college maybe? I don't know. Would it be, again, I don't think it would be a bad move. I think there's a ton of plausible different directions that Penn State could go. The question becomes, what way will they go? And maybe they've already made the decision with Bob Chesney. I don't know. But comment below, what do you think? I also think there's some other imposters in there that as a Michigan State fan, I don't want. Mike Elko for Texas A&M, hard pass. No, don't want him. Not a huge fan. Vanderbilt, no. Missouri, nope. And then there's a lot of coaches that were, big names that got fired. Brian Kelly, nope. Honestly, I will be honest with you. Laugh at me all you want. I did want James Franklin as a Michigan State fan. I'll tell you what, better than what we got now. Better than what we got now. So anyways, comment below. Tell me what you think. Would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Brian Dable? Chip Kelly, Ben Chesney. Would love to hear from you. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you haven't. We'll talk later. Peace.